Hi artists, this is Mrs. RT, the art teacher at the Angelo School. Today we are going to start with a story called Radiant Child, the story of a young artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat. And then we are going to draw one of his famous paintings together, like this dinosaur right here. So we're going to start with the story. You can grab a piece of paper, pencil, any art materials you have, crayons or markers for our project to do after the story. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch, and hopscotch, the salty mouth that slurps sweet ice, a little boy dreams of becoming a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist lives here. As he sits on the table with pencils scattered everywhere, Jean-Michel draws from morning until night, with a serious face, amid a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. At night, images enchant Jean-Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow they are still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Matilde, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lays on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel on his dad's old work papers. From her, he learns that art is not only poetry and books she reads to him, or in the theaters, or in museums that they visit. Art is the street games of little children, in our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning of ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite artworks, reading the stories behind each artist and reading the story behind each artwork. This is how Jean-Michel learns what it means to become a famous artist. Back home, he creates art on the floor, as his father, Gerald, plays jazz records, and his mama cooks rice, and calls Jean-Michel mi amor. The energy and life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. As time goes by, Jean-Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. His mom gives him a book that calms his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones, skulls, and other body parts. Jean-Michel draws from it until he knows them all by heart. He is no longer afraid. Back at home, Jean-Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lays on the floor and draws with Jean-Michel, but sits by the window singing only to the birds. Jean-Michel is confused and filled with terrible blues when his mom can no longer live with them. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As he grows older, he visits his mom when he can, always bringing artwork to show her, telling her that one day it will be in a museum when he is a famous artist. As a teenager now, Jean-Michel decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day, with a sly look and a twinkle in his eye. Jean-Michel leaves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, a concrete jungle where only the tough can survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered in paint, Jean-Michel stays with friends, sleeping on the couch and floors, leaving behind collages and poem-filled papers everywhere he goes. It looks just like when he was a kid, with art all over the walls, and the floor and the tables. At night, Jean-Michel spray paints walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passers-by. Under his art, he signs the name Samo instead of Jean-Michel. Everyone wants to know who this artist is. He moves from street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color compositions and line, collaging and painting anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean, and it's definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. With his magical charm, Jean-Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone, with the radio and TV on blast. Now, in expensive suits, splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books, and paints into the night and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean-Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating the soundtrack all on his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child, but in his heart he is a king, and he draws crowns for himself and other he admires. A grown man now with the art world in his hands, Jean-Michel still visits his mother when he can. And at his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. Now he is a famous artist. And that is our story of Jean-Michel Basquiat, Radiant Child. So now you can grab your pencil and a piece of paper, and we are going to draw this, one of his famous artworks. It was called Pez Dispenser, of this dinosaur. So we are going to break it down into shapes, and I colored it similar to how he painted it. From a distance it may look black, but when you look up closer, there's a lot of other colors and lines mixed in there. So we are going to start, we'll leave a little room up at the top for the crown, and we're going to start with the shapes of the face. So we have a triangle and a long, thin rectangle. So we start with a triangle and a long, thin rectangle. And then his teeth going across are small rectangles. So you can connect the teeth. It overlaps with the triangle and the rectangle. Now for the eyes, I did two long, thin ovals inside that triangle. Remember, just like in the story, they weren't always perfect. Some of his drawings were messy, or it even said they were weird. So you just try your best, work on your shapes, and then you can add your own details towards the end. So the next part for the body, we have this big oval right under the rectangle. Two long rectangles for the legs. And two rectangles that come off the oval for the body. Now in this example, I used rectangles for the feet and the hands. You could use rectangles, triangles, or pick which shape you want to make for the feet and the hands. So on this one, I'm going to make small rectangles. You can add the feet and the hands. The next line we're going to make is this long line that goes down from the top of the head, behind the body, and then all the way out for the tail. So you can start with your pencil up at the top of that triangle, make a line down behind the head, around the body, and out for the tail. So we started up here, behind the head, all the way down the body and out for the tail. And then you can bring that tail back in towards the body. Then you can make either a zigzag line or all small triangles all the way down that back line for the spikes on the back of the dinosaur. So take some time, add in all those little triangle spikes behind the head, on the back, and all the way down the tail. The next step we'll do will be the crown. You can see at the end he always drew crowns on himself and things that he admired. So we will start with the crown above the head. We'll have one line that goes across, two that go up, and then it almost looks like you're drawing a rectangle, but then at the top we're going to make a W instead of a rectangle. So above the head you can make a line that goes across, two lines that go up, then a W for the top of the crown. So we can go down, up, up. And that is the outline of our drawing. So you can see on this example, I ended up filling in all of the background with different colored triangles. So you can pick any shape you want for the background to add more of that detail in. And then I even colored yellow on the background behind it. So you can pick any shape that you want and fill in some of the rest of the space. I'm also going to show you how to write this artist's name. So you can write your name on your paper since you're drawing it today. But I will also show you that the artist's name, before we start coloring, is Jean-Michel. So it's J-E-N A-N. You can write this wherever you have space on your paper. Hyphen M. I. C. H. E. L. That's the first name. And the last name, Basquiat, is B. A. S. Q. U. I. A. T. So that is the artist name that we looked at. And you can pick any shape you want to add details to the background. I like to make triangles for the background of this one. But you could pick circles, squares, diamonds, any shape you want, just to help you fill in that space around your dinosaur. This is the one that I colored in, similar to how he painted it, but you can take some time, get creative, finish your design with pencil. When you're ready, you can outline it with black marker or crayon, and then you can add any colors you want for yours. It doesn't have to be the same as this. So I hope you enjoyed our story and our dinosaur drawing today, inspired by the artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, and I can't wait to see what you make. I'll see you next time.